Hi, I'm Clint Wheelock with Informa Tech, and I'm here with Aditya Kaul, who's Research Director with Tractica, focused primarily on AI. And Aditya, we're here at the AI Summit for times I can't even count now.
Yes.
I mean, we've been coming to this event for the past few years and the global series that it represents. And obviously the AI sector has evolved tremendously during that period of time. And I'm just curious, as you're walking around the show floor, listening to presentations, what kind of evidence do you see that the AI market is entering into a new phase of development?
Yes, I think there's a lot more activity this year, much more than what I've seen previously. Just talking to people on the show floor, I've spent some time talking to different companies, the vendors, the large and the small vendors who are active in this space. And the sense I get is that most of the companies are talking about deployment of AI now. I think the market is moving beyond this phase of what I call as a hype phase where we were until now, where the questions were all about what is AI, how do you define AI, and what are the use cases also was part of that, but now a lot of the companies have figured out those use cases, and now it's all about implementing it, figuring out the right technology to implement that, and then just getting on with it. And so the conversations are more around, what languages do I use? How do I, take all these languages and, create a way to normalize them in my organization? How do I scale the AI that I'm deploying? What are the DevOps challenges? I think those are some of the conversations that I was in the morning. So that clearly shows you that the market is moving into this newer maturity phase, I guess we can call it.
As this continues to evolve, how would you say the expectations around business applications and capabilities of AI have changed? Because when the AI Summit series began in 2016, I suppose it was, we were even then seeing that there was a focus on very narrow, practical applications that were pretty small scale in their ambitions, and people were trying not to get too carried away even at that stage about AI. But how has the experience of scaling up these initiatives over the past few years changed the nature of the expectations that organizations go into these initiatives with?
I think the expectations have become more realistic, I think for sure. I think earlier, because it was in the hype phase, a lot of companies were overselling AI, I think. And I think now that a lot of the enterprises have actually gone through that phase of testing out the various solutions in the market, I think they understand the limitations of AI and where AI is, and so there's clearly a much better understanding of it, a much better understanding of what it can do today. And there's clearly a lot more that's coming down, and I think there's also a separate discussion maybe that is starting, which I'm seeing, where the hyperscaler companies are sort of accelerating ahead with some of these capabilities, and the rest of the market is playing catch up. And so that gap is starting to build, I think, in the market, because a lot of these hyperscaler companies, they've now deployed AI within their own organization, and now they're taking that same capability and offering it as cloud services. And so they're now starting to compete with these big players like IBMs and even Microsoft to some extent, and SAP, and all these other companies that were sort of in the IT space and now starting to deploy AI. So I think there's that aspect of that conversation as well. That expectation debate is starting to sort of move into that phase as well, I think.
Very interesting. Well, thanks for the thoughts, and we'll certainly be watching over the course of the next year how that evolves into the next stage of AI market development.
Right. Thank you.